Lesson 47, Bow Motion, from Learn Violin Fast, Book 1. The unusual and unnatural motions of playing the violin with the bow typically is the main difficulty in learning the violin. Once you learn these new ranges of motion and understand how they differ from what a regular range, it is only a matter of repetition to master and playing with the bow and making it like second nature or making it easy to where you can just make beautiful music. Remember that we're used to facing straight ahead, our head is in front of us, and our hands are used to being here. First step is we're going to wave our right hand, we're going to raise our elbow, and we're going to scratch our nose with our wrist. So we're going to bend our wrist, the wrist is going to be bent like so, right? Good, bend the wrist, and shoulder relaxed, elbow up. You're going to just basically bend your wrist, and you're going to scratch your nose. So this is where we start. When you play at the frog, with proper position, your wrist is bent and it's almost so you can actually touch your nose. So we're going to scratch your nose and then we're going to point the finger in front of us, pretend that we're pointing at someone. Now, yes, this is typically rude, but for purposes of violin learning, this is the easiest and the fastest way to start. So you're going to scratch your nose, point your finger in front of you. Scratch your nose, point your finger in front of you. One of the most challenging things to do is to relax and let go. Because this is so awkward and weird and a very unnatural motion, we kind of tend to squeeze and not really let go, and very often beginners just can't. They literally do this because they're squeezing so hard. So you actually have to relax and just let go and let the arm come out. So you're going to scratch your nose, and you're going to point your finger in front of you as if you're pointing in front of someone. Scratch you. Pause the video and do this 10 times. Now, if you recall, the way that we properly hold the violin, it goes on the collarbone, on the shoulder, and we look left. So the next step is let's practice the bow motion the way we would actually play with the bow. So we're going to look left. We can also pretend we're holding the violin here. We're going to relax our shoulders. We're going to raise our elbow, shoulder down. We're going to scratch our nose, and then we're going to point in front of us. So remember, your head is not going to point here. Now you're looking left. Scratch, you. Scratch, you. So this will be the full motion of the bow. Now, if you want to play just in the middle of the bow, it will look something like this. You'll notice how I'm pivoting at the elbow. You'll notice how my upper hand is not going back at all. And when we play with the bow, I'll explain to you why that's so easy to do and how to think about it to make sure that it's proper, right? So your basic middle of the bow, we call it détaché or detached. This is going to be the motion. If you want to play full bow, you're going to go from scratch, you. And then you can also play in the upper half, which will be the middle of the bow to the extension, middle of the bow to the extension, and that is the upper half, and the lower half is frog to the middle, frog to middle. So these motions are very, very strange. They're very unusual. So literally practice this with just air violin, I guess you could call it, without the bow, without the violin, just get the motions. Because once you add the bow and the violin, it becomes a lot more challenging. But if you pretty much master, or at least you know and you're comfortable with the motions on their own, the playing part will be a lot easier. So stand up tall, take a deep breath, look left, pretend you're holding the violin, raise your right hand, shoulder chill and down, elbow up, bend your wrist, bring it closer to your nose, go in front of you, scratch, you, scratch, you. You can also do just in the middle. You can also do lower half, frog to middle, and you could do middle to tip or the upper half. So practice these motions. You'll notice that you're going to get very tense. Things might hurt. You're going to squeeze. Remind yourself to relax, that these are very just weird new motions. But if you can get used to them and be relaxed, you're off to a great start. I'll see you in the next lesson where we actually get through the bow motion with the bow. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next lesson.